I love that description in the Bible calling us the body of Christ, that really we all have something to contribute, and it's been really great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, our guest today is the co-founder of Black Urbanism Toronto, an urban planning group that aims to increase the participation of Black people in the cultural, economic, and social development of their communities. Dane Williams is here to share more about his journey. So welcome, Dane. We're so glad you're here today.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Lori. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Yeah, okay, so you're the co-founder of Black Urbanism Toronto. Why did you start this organization?
That's a very good question. It was started with a passion for advocating for the unique needs and perspectives of Black communities within the urban development and planning landscape. What we were noticing was, despite the rich history of places like Little Jamaica and its cultural contributions to the city of Toronto and many areas within Canada, community voices and needs were often overlooked and underrepresented in the decision-making process. So, Bill, what we aim to create is a platform for Black community members to engage, educate, and uplift each other in urban development and planning initiatives, and ensure that their perspectives and priorities are centered in shaping the future of our communities.
Oh, well, that's powerful. And I love the work that you're doing in Little Jamaica. And so it's been really instrumental in the work there. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah, so, we actually issued out a Black business conversation back in 2020, and it was because of the displacement and the gentrification that was taking place based on the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. We saw up to 140 Black-owned businesses within the Little Jamaica Strip, that were displaced due to the construction. So for us, we saw a place, a cultural hub, and a place where we were able to identify as ourselves, slowly decimated, and, the erosion of the culture happening. So for us, we started to work with, business owners and consult with residents in capturing, just kind of what has been taking place since 2012. And we issued out the Black Business Report to provide recommendations to the City of Toronto around how we need to really be focused on supporting the Black businesses and making sure that there are actually sustainable foundations in place for them to be able to operate their businesses.
Yeah, okay, great. So what are some of the things you've seen as a result of the initiatives you've started in that way? What are some of the progress? Give us a report.
Yeah, that's a good question. For us, what we've been focused on is the pathways to community ownership, and we've been looking at food security, food sovereignty, food insecurity, food sovereignty, affordable housing, affordable commercial spaces for Black business owners. We've had 4 consultations over the last couple of months, and it's been really good feedback and community really interested in community ownership and community control. So if we're able to, leverage the city or the province or even just within community, round out finances to be able to actually purchase back our community buildings, to then be able to, have more say in what's actually happening in our neighborhood. So, we got a lot of momentum, and we're really at the next steps of launching commercial land trust in Little Jamaica.
I mean, that's amazing. And you've learned a lot. I would consider you an expert in kind of this urban renewal plan. And some of our viewers are watching from all kinds of different diverse areas across Canada with at-risk communities. So what are some of the things that you've learned, and maybe even offer some possible solutions that would enable similar communities across Canada to kind of turn it around and thrive?
For sure. That's a really good question. I think for me and for us, one of the things is really just, the basic foundational pieces to really be involved. When there's development that's happening within your communities, you want to be at those meetings. You want to be asking questions. You really want to understand, because ultimately, if you aren't participating in those meetings, then you're leaving it up to the decision of the city, the councillor, and other constituents to speak on your behalf. I also think it would be really important for communities to form tenant and resident, organizations to really form a centralized community voice, where individuals can support one another, discuss kind of issues that are happening, whether it's on the business side or the tenant side, and really be able to support and leverage one another. And then the next piece is, again, for us within Little Jamaica, we were able to leverage the cultural district piece. Canada's a rich nation of different cultures and diverse cultures, and I think it's important for those cultures to be adequately celebrated. So, there's also an opportunity for communities to really leverage those cultural nuances within the specific formation of where you are, and, based off that, being able to, make make ask towards the importance of why community control and that kind of making sure that that erosion of culture isn't happening. So, and I think the final piece, I think, is the main important piece, is really taking a look at that community land trust model. As everyone knows, it's been, Parkdale has done a really great job in leveraging community land trusts, as well as Kensington Market here in Toronto. And then Hogan's Alley in BC, in Vancouver, and then as well in Nova Scotia. So, it's an adequate model that's being used here in Canada, and that was used back in the 1960s during the civil rights movements, to really ensure that community land is held in community, because we all know the importance of space.
I think that's brilliant. And I think those are some really tangible takeaways, like make sure you're seen and heard, get in places where decisions are being made and make sure that they know what the needs are of your unique community. Make sure you build community support systems. I think that's huge too. How do we support one another? Yeah, and then really leverage as an advantage, because it is a huge advantage, the unique distinctives and diversity that you bring to each community, because that is what makes Canada better. So just one last real quick question then. How can the average Canadian watching this maybe even right now respond or engage in supporting Black business communities?
Yeah, really another great question. You know what? I was kind of struggling with this answer, because I feel like the generic answer is always to say, shop at Black businesses and,
Right.
use your purchasing power. But I think there's something that's more foundational, that approach that can actually happen, is just really to understand the power that you have in the decisions you make.
Right.
Just the way you live your life, the decisions you make at work. Maybe ask more questions, educate yourself to understand different perspectives as you're carrying out your work, and really understand the implications of your decisions, right? So, I think for people, I would just ask for them to be really intentional in their approach, and understanding that, whether you work, it really just understand the power that your work holds, and really just being mindful in the decision making, and also the repercussions of your decision making. So I think I would say educate yourself, understand the implication, and really, if there's an opportunity for you to make a change, in your day-to-day work, I would encourage you to do so, and to look at other creative ways how we can have other communities and all communities be able to participate equally.
That is fantastic. Dane, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for helping us understand some of the opportunities that are available to us as Canadians today.